Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. Mom and I are grateful that you can join us for another week. And we're super excited today. We have Maria Martinez with us today. She was born with full awareness of the unseen realms and has navigated multidimensional spaces since childhood. Coming from a lineage of shamans and guided by archangels, ascended masters, and beings from the Galactic Federation and sacred orders, she carries an ancient wisdom that transcends ordinary perception. Her journey includes visiting her own starship, working in the Confederation ship, and receiving teachings directly from interdimensional allies who recognize her as a leader and a visionary. A cosmic weaver and architect of divine sovereignty, Maria is a quantum alchemist who heals across timelines and dimensions. She perceives and clears distortions in the human energy field, removes interferences from various non physical races, and collaborates with a luminous collective of plasmic beings to restore the divine human blueprint. Through channeling, soul retrieval, multidimensional healing, and activations of dormant DNA, she guides individuals to reclaim their sovereignty, embody their highest potential, and remember the vast interstellar truth of who they are. So, welcome, Maria. We're super excited to have you on with us today.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to be here with you.
So we gave a little bit of your introduction. So it sounds like you are well versed in a lot of different things here. So what I'd love to jump in with you was we were talking a little bit before we popped on about living your infinite abundant life. So I'd love to start with that and kind of you can tell us, how do we live a abundant life?
Thank you, and thank you for having me again and sharing with everyone. When I come in, my intention is always to transmit. So everything that will come through today will be a transmission from the divine, from source, from the beings that are here to support us in moving into infinite flow and abundance and possibility. And what we were really created to be and to experience is flow, uh, to live in the space of happiness, to live in the space of life by design. You know, we're in this beautiful body and we're here to be of service to others, but are here to be in service to ourselves and to embody who we truly came here to be. And as we come in to embody who we came here to be, what that means is to live in the totality of our true potential. You know, I'm often asked about what is my Earth's mission or what is my mission? Well, it is to be your authentic self. That is first, that because when you are the truth of who you are, everything else falls into place. Everything that you desire, the abundance, the prosperity, your life starts to work in the way that you want it to work. Your health also elevates, expands. Your connections, the people that you're with, the people that you work with and interact with, all of that up levels. And that is the living in abundance because we're in the expansion, not the contraction. The contraction is the illusion, is the dream state, is taking the information that others give us and making it ours. Right now, we're living their life. We're living through their perspective. We're living through their intentions and their belief systems. So, to continue to live in the way that was intended or to create from the place that was intended is to come back to ourselves into the truth of who we are beyond the body, beyond the mind. Yes, we love the body and we honor the body as the temple. And we recognize that the mind has been supporting us and supports us in different ways, but we want to move beyond that into the authentic divine essence of who we are, to the light within ourselves that wants to express the technology that we came here to be and that we are. So coming back to ourselves and coming inward is to create from that place of infinite creation and from the place of flow. Uh, and when we create from that place of flow and infinite oneness, we have no attachments to anything. We have no fear about anything. Everything just feels that is moving, constantly moving and expanding. And we don't get attached to and we don't get plugged in to what's happening around us, whether it's family issues, concerns, drama, or friends, work environment, or even what's happening now in the world. When we move into our truth and our authenticity, from that place, we elevate everything around us. From that place, we shine the light on others to awaken and to see for themselves what's available. And as we continue to hold that light, everybody else starts to also move in their own way and move into the direction or into the alignment that is in their highest good. That is abundance. For me, that's abundance. That is you knowing that you can change anything in the moment, that you can transform anything in the moment, that what it looks like in the moment is just one perception or one possibility, and that you can take that and you can up level it to whatever you want it to be. So worry is not something that you entertain. Fear is not something that you entertain. Insecurities is not something to entertain, because you've learned to live from that authentic place that is infinite in its resolve, in its resilience, in its a constant expansion, and it's a constant transmutation, and it's a constant transformation. It's the alchemy. You're alchemizing your environment. And so the question is, well, how do we get there? That sounds amazing. That sounds beautiful. And how do we get there?
That was going to be my question.
So we start to come to that place when we stop and we look at not what's happening around us, but we look at how we're participating in what we're creating. When we stop and recognize, how am I participating in what's reflecting back to me in my environment, in the world? And how can I upgrade that? So for instance, if we feel that our environment is stressful, if we feel that we're working really hard, if we feel like we're having to prove ourselves, so we're living from unworthiness, we're living from undeservingness, we're living from I'm not enough. So that when we recognize that, we can start shifting that within ourselves. And as we shift, then the outside shifts. Now, how do we shift that, right? So that goes back to your relationship with you and you. And those are the pillars that bring you back to that totality of who you are. So the pillars are self-love, self-acceptance, self-trust, self-belief, self-forgiveness, worthiness, deservingness, and ultimately is being enough. So when we master those pillars, then we're mastering ourselves. We move into reflection, observation, witnessing. We move into the mastery of who we are. So when we're noticing something that is happening around us that is not in alignment with who we are, or it feels like it's triggering, we look at that trigger. If it feels that it's oppressing, we look at what is the part of it that feels oppressed. If we're feeling like it's not in alignment, then we look at, well, what is in alignment? But that is the mastery. We get to come back to ourselves and look at, where do I feel the greatest joy? And am I living authentically? Do I have healthy boundaries? Am I completely in service to myself and others? Do I honor myself for who I am? Do I value myself for who I am? And am I living into the highest possibility? So no longer hiding, no longer being afraid, especially of our own light. And that creates the alchemy within ourselves, the biochemical reaction, the transformation, the reprogramming, and the calibration for us to up-level ourselves, our frequency, and our timeline to move into a new timeline of creation. And when we move into a timeline of creation, now we've reset every area of your life. We recalibrated every area of our life. And then we continue to expand into that. We continue to elevate ourselves through our, enhancing and working through our pillars, but also celebrating celebrating ourselves as creation and celebrating ourselves in the human body, yeah, in our interactions to others, who we are in our how we're giving to others. We get to celebrate all of that because all of that is abundance. All of that is flow. All of that is more than enough. All of that is us holding the universe within ourselves and recognizing that there's more than enough for everyone and for everything.
Yeah, and I think people don't understand and believe that, right? Because it's hard to believe, I think, when we're living everyday life to realize there is abundance for everybody out there. So, what are some of the steps maybe that we can take to start, realizing that, we can have this self-love and self-trust and self-belief because that's so hard to attain, it seems like,
Yes.
when we're muddling through life.
Yeah. So a couple things about that. One is the level of awareness or the level of consciousness we are. If we're in survival, it's really hard for us to live abundantly because we're just getting by. We feel exhausted. Survival is lack and scarcity, is not enough time, not enough energy, not enough resources. So, and that's easy to identify within ourselves. If we're using the word, I don't have time, or if we're using the word, I'm too tired for this, or I'm too tired to do that, or if we're feeling like I don't have enough money, we're living in that contraction state. So we're living in the survival state. And that is the mindset that we're in. And if we're not aware that we're there, we're we're creating sort of blocks or barriers around us, and we're just spinning our wheels and trying really hard. So we want to first recognize, how do I see myself and how do I see the world around me? How do I see my interaction with money? The story about money. How do I see my relationship with having and receiving? How is that relationship? Is it open? Is it expansive? Do I feel good about receiving? Do I feel good about asking for more? So then we're sort of beginning to unravel that place from which we were creating that was survival to now, what is another possibility? What
Mhm.
are other possibilities? So that's the first step. Again, recognizing, am I in survival, just getting by, just working excessively and just making it through? Or am I expanding to, there must be another way? And that is when we start looking at the new possibilities. And then the new possibilities is, how do I live in the state of possibility, right? Because everything is a choice. We can stay in everything is hard, or life is hard, or we have to go through the ups and downs, or we can move into the next choice, which would be, life is amazing and life is what I make it, right? So it starts with that choice, life is what I make it, or my life is my own and I get to design it. So I'm going to choose happiness. I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to choose prosperity. So those are the first steps, is choice, because choice is your superpower. Choice is your we've been choosing this whole time unconsciously, right? We've been choosing from a place of not knowing. We've been choosing from a place of fear. We've been choosing from a place of scarcity, lack. We've been choosing from a place of insecurity or separation, them and us, or separation from the divine, or separation from ourselves. But we've been choosing unconsciously. Now we get to choose intentionally, and we get to choose with this vibrancy and this enthusiasm and this desire of more and more, which is available to us. So then the second thing is recognize that what I desire is available to me. Desiring more success, more money, more prosperity, that is available to me. And I believe that to be true. So now we went from choosing to believing and trusting that it is true. So those are the steps as we move ourselves forward into that next possibility. So we're pulling ourselves from survival into the level of awareness. Again, there's other possibilities. And then we want to move ourselves to the next level of consciousness, which is where we're becoming the creator of our life. In the creator of our life, in the level of awareness, we're identifying also things that are no longer in alignment with us, and we're doing our work. We're clearing, we're collapsing timelines, we're healing trauma, we're shifting and programming our mind, and then we move into the next level of consciousness. I am the creator. I am the creator of my life. And we move into the mastery of that. And that is when we're now able to sustain more possibility or infinite possibility. And that's also a choice as well. Again, it starts with that choice. When you say, I am the master creator of my life, then you're choosing that no one else can create in your reality. You're choosing to separate everybody else's projection, ideas, stories from yours. And you're choosing to recreate the relationship with money as well. Money, wealth, abundance, prosperity. So now you're in the mastery because now you're intentionally leaning into more and more in happiness, life by design.
Mm-hmm.
And in that place, it gets really, really fun because that's where instant manifestation happens. Because you're constantly leaning into it. You're constantly playing in the field. You're now aligning with the universe. You're now saying yes, yes, yes to more. You're now saying, yes, I recognize that of myself, but I'm now shifting that part of myself to this. So the part of myself that feels scared, now moving that part of myself to what if it was fun? So we also transform the relationship with fear at that point.
Yeah.
Fear is really an opportunity. It's an indication of what's about to shift, the breakthrough that we're about to take, right? So now every time you take the quantum leap or every time you're getting ready to take the quantum leap and fear kicks in, you're like, this is really exciting because this is going to be amazing. What on the other side, when you've mastered this level of fear, life is going to be wonderful. So
Yeah.
it creates another level of excitement getting through and creating more and more, and now allowing fear to be your second superpower. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's move through it. So it gets really fun uh, to play with the quantum field, to play with the loss of the universe, to play in creation as the master creator. And especially when we're bringing joy, things open up and they just feel so easier to move through. So when we're in lack and scarcity, and this is what I tell anyone that I work with, when they're worried about something, when something feels very difficult, I say, go ahead and play. Go do something fun that brings you joy, whether spending time with your kids, with your pets, going out, putting your feet in the water, whatever it is. Go do something that is joyful, that it brings you lots of joy, because it'll shift you from this contraction to this expansion. And then you're going to allow the universe to support you at that point. You're no longer in your way, cycling through all these belief systems that you have and spiraling down in your emotions. You put that on hold, go do this that is fun. And that's going to look very different when you allow yourself to have joy.
And that makes a lot of sense to me because then you're getting out of your head too, right? You can't
Right.
have those negative thoughts coming in anymore because you're busy playing and having a good time. And I
Yes.
love that, how you said that. And I love that, fear is an opportunity to start looking at some of these things to shift ourselves. And I think, it's not an overnight thing. It's a thing that we have to practice at because we're so practiced at being the other way of saying these things. And I love the I am thing. I've been studying that a little bit lately with it's like whatever you say after I am, you're really breathing into creation. So
Mhm.
why not say these I am abundant, I am the, creator of my life. So I love that you said that.
Yeah. The other thing that I like to just bring into the conversation is a reprogramming. Some of the old programs are it takes time, or this is what's supposed to happen, the ups and downs, or um, I'm new to this and I don't have the experience yet, or I have to go through the learning curve. So we wanted to lead in and create all of that because you're placing yourself on a timeline that could be months or maybe a year to a timeline that is now 5 to 10 years because you said, I accept the belief system that it takes a long time. It's the same thing of saying things are hard, life is hard, right? So we wanted
Yeah.
to lead in and create all of that and start moving into it's easy. I do this with ease and grace. I do this with ease and grace. We move into
Trying to
everything is
pause.
easy. It comes naturally to me.
I still love you.
Yeah.
I love you.
So
Yes. You used to
we'll ask everybody to meet.
Me with them. Yeah, well, and I think that's beautiful message to share with people because I know just recently we were talking to Joy Baker, and she said to me, because I was having some things with imposter syndrome. And so she said, just ask yourself, what if it's possible it is? And then start creating that reality for yourself. And so now I have this thing, and I'm always saying at work, I'm retiring in the next year or sooner, whichever whenever my divine timing comes in, I'll be gone from that and doing what I really want to do. So I think that's along the lines of what you're saying, or is there a
Yes.
way that I can tweak that to move that in for
Yeah.
faster?
Yes. So the other way of creating something is seeing yourself already. So when we're manifesting something and we hold that vision, and instead of seeing ourselves getting there, we actually go beyond that point. So it becomes something that's already done, already happened, it's already completed. And when you see yourself that way, so imagine like you're here and then your timeline is in front of you, and we don't need to put down like year or anything like that. We don't put any time to it, but we see the event on your timeline. You first move into you enjoying it all, right? You being in the freedom and in the celebration and in the sharing. And then we move you forward. No, so that's the first day. And then it's later, like months and months after that, where you're already there, enjoying the freedom of that. And then we go into, well, what is next after that? So what is the next big goal or big vision or big accomplishment? And then we start focusing on the next accomplishment or the next thing that you want to bring in. So this goal or vision that you're working on, that's already done. That's already done. So what that does, it collapses the time. It takes away the anxiety of I have to do this. It takes away the nervous system getting stressed out or worried or reacting to I have to take all the steps to I just take this step because I'm not focused on this. I'm focused on that. Right. So you're not worried about this. You're not in reaction to this. You're 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. And then we go to the next. So we take away all the emotional attachment to getting there, and we make it easy. We make it easy to taking the steps and to moving forward. So the other thing that does, it helps the inner child. Because the inner child, if you present something to her or him, and it feels so different, so big than she's ever experienced, she's gonna start resisting, kicking back and saying, I don't know if I can, I don't know how, I don't know. But because you made it so easy, you're like, yeah, we're now enjoying it. We're here, we're celebrating, and this is so much fun. And what is next? What would you like to create next? Then it takes away also that reaction from the inner child because she's like, oh, it's already created. I don't have to create it. I just go there. I just get there. I just get to enjoy it. So it moves that ease forward. It moves you forward and then to the next and to the next and to the next. And it collapses the time. So, when we put a time to it, we put it very close, like within months or within a year instead of that. But then we keep moving it to the now. We keep moving it to the now.
Yeah,
And
almost like a
that,
quantum jump.
yes. And that's it. So yeah, so we don't want to exactly anchor it into a time, but just so that we can move it forward, we'll give it a time and we put it into your timeline, but then we keep moving it forward toward you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I think that's amazing. Are you open if, because there's a bunch of people on with us, are you open if somebody had a question for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So if anybody on has a question, you can just raise your hand and then we'll let you talk to Maria. So no, I love that, and I love how because that makes sense in my head of seeing that, it's kind of like this quantum jump that you're moving forward and looking at that and then shrinking that time in between, because then at that point time doesn't even exist. You're just kind
Mhm.
of taking that out of the equation.
Yes. And the other thing that happens is that you don't get caught up in the details of it, of all the things that you have to do and so many things that you have to do and who's going to do them. As you're creating, you're also creating that the universe supports you and orchestrates for you. You're also creating that the right people will move in a direction to support your vision, either come in as your direct support or whatever action they take accelerates you getting there. And when we release all of that, it takes away living in the lower consciousness, in the doingness, and it elevates us to the visionary. It elevates us to living in the field of creation of infinite possibility and infinite probability and expectancy.
Mm, love that. I think it's like it makes me excited when you're talking about this because I can just see this like so many possibilities, and there's nothing that you couldn't ask for is what I'm feeling with this.
Yes, yes. And sometimes, when we move into the idea of manifestation, we make it complicated. We think that we have to take all these steps and we have to keep like affirming and saying it, and we have to keep touching into it. Well, if we're constantly doing, and especially if we're thinking, if I don't do it today, it's not going to happen, we're not really trusting. So we want to, again, live into it and feel the new identity of who we are from that place. So the new identity of you experiencing that is one that is more abundant than the one you are now, right? Otherwise you would have it now. But what we're doing is we are, this is the place that you want to go and this is where you are, but you keep up leveling yourself to match that frequency to that vision of you. But you hold that identity within yourself that already holds that frequency. And that is the joy of celebration. And that is the joy of experiencing it all already. And when we do that, the version of you now easily moves forward and adopts all the qualities. It expands the energetic capacity, uh, the bandwidth for you to sustain or for you to match that next level of you, especially if it's a big leap. I have people in my wealth consciousness group that have manifested 14 million, 10 million, double their salary. Um, money arrived from places they didn't expected, that got a promotion when they didn't expect it, even without applying. So again, when you're playing in the field and you're not creating any restrictions, but you're up leveling your identity to the millionaire, the multimillionaire, things just fall into place. You just can't help it. Yeah. And as you move yourself into the new identity, you're allowing old layers to peel off, but you're also allowing the new authenticity, the new authentic you to come forward with ease and grace, the one that can have, the one that can hold, the one that can sustain, the one that can keep growing, either growing the abundance that you're receiving, building more on that, or can call in more. And then we keep doing that. We keep doing that. We keep doing that. We keep doing that.
I love that. I'm excited. Well, it's exciting because it's exciting to know the possibility of it, right? This is available for anybody. And so being in joy,
Yes.
playing, is there anything else we should do to start getting in that connection with ourselves to be able to live in that space where we're feeling like we can be the divine creators of our life?
Yes. And you said something really important. It's available to everyone. Uh, That's the thing that we have to believe, or that's the idea that we need to integrate as a new program. It is available to me. Whatever I want, whatever I desire, is available to me. In this moment, I'm running this frequency that is creating this. But that which I desire is available to me. It's just in a different frequency. So we get to align with that. So to your question, what else is to align with what we desire, to embody the version of ourselves that can sustain that, and to have clarity about what we want. If we're not clear about what we want, the universe doesn't know what we want. Right? So the clarity also comes with alignment. And alignment comes from you, again, believing that you can have it, because you're the one that is saying yes to you. We are the ones that are in our way. So when you get out of your own way, the universe will say, yep, absolutely, whatever you want. So when you say, yes, universe, I'm ready to withdraw this from my divine fortune. I want to hold this, sustain, and manifest it now. the universe will say, okay, well, show me that you're ready, and I will bring it to you. And the universe is not saying prove, it's just saying, are you sure you want this? Because it sounds like you don't if you're saying, I don't love myself or I'm not worthy. Yeah. But when we say, when we hold the pillars and we master the pillars, then the universe says, yes, absolutely, you are ready. You're you're holding self-love, you're holding I am enough, you're holding I am creation. Absolutely. What else do you want? What else can I bring you? And then we keep moving into the next possibility and next possibility. And that next possibility is the clarity of what we want to bring in, the vision that we want to live into, and embodying it, living it, experiencing it. So not just a wish, not just a visualization, is feeling the joy of having it and living it already and being in service to others as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
even if you don't want to go into becoming a coach or a healer or anything like that, service to others is, what are you contributing to somebody else's life, right? Maybe it is, I am the most authentic being I've ever been for myself, and therefore in my authenticity, I am contributing to others because I am present to them, right? And if when I am present to them, then they can receive joy, they can understand that they're important, or they can receive, I am seen, I am heard, I am important. So that is contribution to others as well. But recognize who you are and your the gift that you are to the world is the value of who you are. It is, it is your divine uniqueness and your divine fortune.
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest thing for people, right? Is to see our worth because for so long we've lived in a society that is so comparative to each other. And, those kind of things that we sometimes question that. I also loved where you said, oh, goodness, now I lost my train of thought. I let that, oh, okay, I will come back when it's supposed to.
Yeah, no, it's really fun when you decide I'm done living somebody else's life. I'm ready to live my own.
Yes.
That's when you start moving into, I am responsible for my life. I am responsible for what I'm creating, and I'm willing to see it all for myself. So you become very authentic, very transparent, very honest with yourself. And you do it with compassion and love, no judgment and no comparison. And that's when you begin to unplug from the world around you and you begin to tap into a new timeline of your own possibility. And the more you say, okay, that's not mine. Okay, I recognize how I created that. I recognize that I wasn't in abundance. I recognize that I felt disconnected, or recognize that I was in alignment with myself or the universe. Let me course correct. Let me course correct. That is mastery. And it's not difficult, but it is practice. It is practice and awareness. It's first being aware, I have been in the survival, or I've been in the awareness, but I haven't been very intentional. If I'm intentional now with what I'm choosing and what I'm creating and the identity that I'm holding, that I'm embodying, and being open to the next level and next level, and next level, and next level, I'm living in infinite possibility. You keep unplugging from that timeline and that timeline and that timeline, and life just flows.
Yes. I remember now what I was going to say. It came back to me. So when you were talking about like getting real with ourselves, like kind of doing that deep dive into ourselves of what we really do want to create, because I think so often that we put out into the universe, we have this big laundry list of what we really want, but then when we like, and I do a wish list at the beginning of the year every year. And it's funny because I was going through it the other day and I'm like, I actually don't really want that. Like I'm saying it, but I'm just like, no. So I'm just like crossing things off my list. And I think often as humans, we have something in our mind, but we shift and change as well. So that's always moving to something new. And where we are now is maybe not where we were 2 years ago about what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. We're constantly evolving. So we either evolve into something more and better, or we evolve into a spiral of the past. And the more we take responsibility, the more we're aware of that's not in alignment with me, that, or that this decision isn't my highest good, then we are either moving up to the next level or we're staying stagnant and kind of slipping back into everything being, or us being at the effect of everything that's around us. Yeah. And I feel like that's where responsibility is really important, and where you move away from the victim, that life is happening to me or this is happening to me, to I get to create what I want. I get to create what I want from the place of love, from a place of joy, from a place of happiness, from a place of, of knowing that I deserve it. I deserve it all.
So what would you say to somebody that, because I know sometimes people are fearful of making this change and having and welcoming abundance into our lives for fear of losing some people that are in our tribe currently. So how would you address that for people that if they're afraid to move forward because they don't want to lose people or
Mhm.
anything
Yeah,
like that?
I that question comes up quite a bit, especially in relationships. I see that I'm growing, but I see that my partner is staying where they are. Or in family, I feel that I'm growing, but I don't feel like I can relate the same way that I used to my family. Well, that's one way of looking at it, like feeling like we're losing something. The other way of looking at it is I am the way shower. I get to stand out in the world so that I can show everybody else how to be free, how to stand out in the world. And that decision is not always easy, especially if we're so conditioned to belong or to fit in. But again, as the creator and as beings of light, we didn't come in to dim our light so that others can feel better. We didn't come in to dim ourselves so that others can feel comfortable. We came here to shine the light so we can transform. So by continuing being ourselves and expanding who we are and elevating who we are, not only do we allow ourselves to see, oh, this is how I was, meaning these were the attachments that I had with the world or with my career, with this relationship or with family, but they also get to see it for themselves. So you can uncreate contracts, agreements of limitation, of even lack and scarcity, or of attachment and codependency. And then we also want to remember that we're all beings of light, that whoever's around you doesn't depend on you to be who they are. They are a divine being of light. So when you see everyone as their truth, which is a divine being of light, they're powerful beyond measure. So if we shift to you're powerful beyond measure, everybody around me is powerful beyond measure. They're not victims. They don't need me to save them, right? Then we can start moving more with ease. And again, the emotions may still be there, but you get to work through your emotions, and remember that you're not losing anything, that you're not going into loneliness or any of that. You're actually coming back to yourself, to wholeness and completeness. And then you get to be that example for everybody else.
Right.
And
That makes sense.
especially if it's family, especially if it's family, imagine you going through that. And I say that, but it's, because we have all these like resistance and we have all these, I don't want to, and it's, it feels uncomfortable, but the payoff is, what if I can show everybody else to be free, to be sovereign, to stand in their own power, to be mighty creators? And especially if they're your children or, close people to you that you love, what if I could do that for them versus trying to stay small, invisible, diminish yourself because you're afraid that you'll be rejected? Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable in the moment for you and for them, but you'll learn, you'll expand, you'll grow, you'll recreate new agreements and new contracts. Maybe the new agreement, the new contract that you create with them is, I will show you the way, or I will hold the light for you, or I see you in your highest possibility, versus I see you as somebody that needs to be saved or needs to be cuddled.
I love that. Do you think that as we move forward in timelines, do you think we'll ever get to a space where this just is our natural state of being, where we won't have to work so hard to create this, I am
Yeah.
mentality?
Yes, I absolutely believe we're already heading in that direction because, we have the mass consciousness field, we have the collective field. And in the past, that collective field had a lot of victimization, not enough, all of that. As more of us step into I am and in the mastery and we step into our authenticity, then we are contributing to that field. We're contributing to the collective. We're contributing to mass consciousness. So we are, so the picture that I'm getting is that as you turn your light or as you turn on your candle, then you can light up all the other candles. And the more people turn on their light, then all the other candles around them will be lit. And what does that do? That brings light to the darkness. And the darkness is just our old selves, right? And we're bringing light. So we're bringing a new possibility. We're bringing a new way of perceiving, a new way of looking at the world, a new way of tapping into new frequencies. And the more of us are awake, the easier it becomes, and it becomes natural for us to be there.
Yeah, that's amazing. My brains are just like, woo! I'm digesting all of this. So, can you tell everybody where they can find you, things that you have to offer that can help them along their road with this?
Yes, absolutely. So you can find me at 360 Prosperity, my website, or evolve360.online. Some of the offers are different in both of the websites. But you can also connect with me on social media, Maria Martinez or 360 Prosperity. Uh, a couple of the programs that we're holding right now, one is Wealth Consciousness. And in that program is where we're holding the frequency of the multimillionaire. And it's happening. Many of us, because it's really just an embodiment of that new consciousness. And it's a transfer of wealth that is happening, meaning in the past, we didn't know we had access to that. We didn't know that was available to us. Now we know that there's enough wealth for anyone. And now we know that it's accessible. Now we know that we can tap into it in many different ways. So that's wealth consciousness. And that's a monthly, it's a 12-month program. We meet 3 times a month. Lots of amazing things are happening there. And then I also have the Christic Codex Architect. And in that program, we work on the divine blueprint. So we work on the areas of health and self-actualization and human potential. So we help clear, or we learn to teach them to learn to clear whatever's in the field that is preventing them from being their fully actualized self and become, again, that master that we were talking about, but beyond. So to be the architect, to be able to look at somebody's blueprint, open up all their information, the Akash, living library, holo records, timelines, lifetimes, parallel lives, dimensions, and to extract the root cause of whatever's happening in their life, calibrate them or recode them so that they can tap into the next potentiality of who we are at the galactic level and beyond. So it's human potential, divine potential. And it's also very powerful because of what you're able to create from that place. Reverse your health. So the aging process, reverse the aging process. Also create many wonderful things as you're moving into service to others. Many people in the group have gotten invitations to lead different things, write books, and also prosperity is coming in many different ways. So both are amazing and wonderful. And I also have one-on-one sessions that people can opt into. I do have a discovery call if somebody has never worked with me before and they have a question of where to start, or they have a question about their situation and don't know what is next for them. They don't know what the plan is. I can help them with that. So different ways to connect, different ways to expand, different ways to move into the next possibility.
That's amazing. Wow. We I we my mom kind of lost her connection there, but we really appreciate you being on with us today and
Thank
inviting,
you.
some people to be on with us. So thank you to everybody that was able to come on the podcast today with us. And if you had a final thought to leave with our listeners and us, what would it be?
Yeah. Ownership. So the ownership of your totality is what I like to leave everybody with. You have the right, the ability, and the capacity to live your totality, to be your full authentic self and create the life that you desire in service and contribution, in abundance and prosperity, in health and vitality. So choose that, move into ownership of that, and create from that place. We were talking about the I am. I am the mighty creator. I am the master designer of my life. I am the divine being within me. I am free. I am sovereign. I am authentic. I am powerful. I am the eternal flame within me that radiates and shines beyond the beyond. So that's the message.
Beautiful. Love it. Love, 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 love that message. And everybody that's listening to this podcast can just, keep rewinding that and repeating it over and over again until it really sinks into my soul and their souls, because I think that's, really how we're going to move forward with this. So thank you so much for being on
Thank
with
you.
us today. It was so much fun. Learned so much. My brain is just vibrating. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody that is here and holding the space and creating with us, and everyone else that's going to listen to it when receive that transmission. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. Lots of love to you.
Yes, thank you. And everybody else, we will see you on the next one.